Mistakes we made when we were younger, roller coasters, that explains a lot.
Yo, what's up, dog?
I'm not a dog, I'm your dad.
I needed to get some Buff Dad into the channel. To be honest, even in 2020, if fitness vloggers would start the video with "Yo, what's up, dog?" at least it wouldn't be
"What's going on, guys?"
So there's that.
And over the course of the years that me and my brother Brandon have been going to the gym, we've learned a lot of things and we've also made quite a few mistakes. So today in this video, we're gonna be going over the mistakes we made that we wish we would have avoided, and we're gonna be telling you those mistakes, so hopefully you can avoid them too.
Gym mistakes that we can all learn from. Comment down below, please, or else. Welcome to the Let's Have a Chat playlist, where the intention is to raise issues for discussion with this community. And this video is meant to be positively productive in nature, where we can highlight common gym mistakes and also potential solutions that can help people. And this is not just for teenagers or beginners. Of course, please comment with those issues, but also if you are an intermediate to advanced lifter, you of course may still have been making mistakes as you go through that journey, as you cross certain competency thresholds. Please input any data that you have.
Flashback to the summer of 2003, a simpler time. Junko jeans and 64 megabyte MP3 players ruled the world, and in this era of awkwardness, the buff dudes were formed, quickly learning saggy pants and squats don't mix.
Saggy Pants and Squats is the best untaken YouTube channel name there is. Go get it before someone else does.
Here's some out of context buff dudes.
And as always, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you for watching the last video. This community is amazing. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I made a video on can you build muscle and lose fat at the same time? And this fellow with a burger and chips turned up. I spat out my fat burning McFlurry and started cackling hilariously. And so I will show you the exercise mistakes and fixes that they suggest in their video, and I'm going to spike your drink with some exercise science along the way.
Ego lifting, one that I sadly fell for when I was younger.
There is a philosophy amongst the martial arts to leave your ego at the door.
Again, I was taking weight training classes in high school, and I would typically be pretty strong on the decline press. So I remember this girl stepped into class, and I kind of looked over, I saw her, she's pretty cute, and I went ahead and put in my max weight on.
Trying to impress someone, a form of competitiveness, some deeper psychological issue that I for sure am not the one to try and communicate. But essentially this issue does come back to programming for me. Being analytical in your planning, having a short-term and a longer-term plan. For example, periodizing your training, having the shorter-term microcycle and mesocycle, having the longer-term macro cycle, having this guideline of your reps, your sets, your exercise selection, your intensity when you change up your workouts, knowing what you want to do in the gym before you get in the gym, and that can help you stick to your plan if you like and not impulsively perform a maximal lift.
But as soon as I unloaded the bar, I brought it down and I couldn't get it up.
You have no idea the jokes I want to make right now, but I'm being all respectful like.
And unfortunately, it was a very embarrassing moment. And I don't know what she was going through her head, but through my head, I mean, it was probably red, and I was just like, got those like hot ears and stuff. And thankfully a buddy of mine, he came over and spotted me and lift the bar up so I didn't kill myself.
And by the way, if you want to impress someone for romantic relations, I refer to my video here. But be warned, you will need a pen and paper to take notes to then burn it.
It was definitely a learning lesson. Don't ego lift, because it's really just not good in the end.
You want a visual example of a sucker for supplements, a glorified bonehead for BS. You're looking at one. I bought every crap supplement there was when I was younger. I didn't have the education or the understanding to be able to analyze whether I needed them or not. And the fitness star telling me that I needed those supplements, the marketing worked. We all learn and develop. That's the beautiful part of the fitness journey.
Too much healthy food. And that can sound really strange, but that's exactly what I did.
And so this is a hot topic. Anything nutritional has to be taken into context.
Because when I was a teenager, I would do things like do a super intense workout, go for really long bike rides, and then I would reward myself with what I thought was healthy food, which was whole wheat bread, peanut butter, honey, and of course they are good, but in moderation.
And one context being the calories of something. And if we look at the peanut butter example that they give, of course, peanut butter projected as having healthy fats, for example. But of course, peanut butter is calorie dense, as nutritional fat is calorie dense, 9 calories per gram. And so that's something you have to consider.
I was just having way too much of it. And the sad thing is, I wasn't really making any progress, which was really unmotivating for me.
I still knowingly make the Crocodile Dundee peanut butter mistake. You call this a teaspoon? This is a teaspoon. I'm sure you can relate.
So what I started to do was I would track my calories, I would track my macronutrients, and when I started to moderate those and realize how much I was having, that really helped me out like crazy, and I saw the best results I'd ever had.
But here is some input that I want to give. Let's say, for example, your goal is to lose fat and you're not achieving your goal, and you're training consistently, you think you're eating well. It may be that you're just not accurately tracking what you are eating, and this is a massive problem in research. When it comes to research papers, and the participants in the paper have to self-record their food, there's a high level of inaccuracy in it. This is a very common liability in research. However, when the researchers accurately track, for example, the calories, that is when the accuracy increases. And so a major problem is people eating more than they think they are eating, and this is an honest mistake in many cases.
So remember that just because you're eating healthy, you could still be eating too much of it.
I will leave this right here.
Only really performing exercises that are comfortable. But the problem is the longer you neglect those kind of things, let's say squats or just legs in general, the worse the imbalances start to get because your upper body continues to develop and your lower body doesn't. So later on down the line, it's going to be more work for you to kind of catch up and make sure you're symmetrical.
And so I have videos on muscle balance, not neglecting smaller muscles, so I don't want to go over that again. But what we can do is think of the body as a kinetic chain. Of course, when we perform movements, multiple muscles are used in those movements, multiple joints used. And if we think about fitness, one of the basic elements of fitness, if you like, is becoming better at movement. And there is the idea and the philosophy of whatever exercise it is that you know that you should be doing, but you hate to do that.
Never neglect legs. That's probably, a pretty common phrase we usually say, but definitely one to remember.
Working your ass off, but not staying consistent.
The Purge, all I'm thinking is that Siren and Chaos. I've seen the first 30 films, only 49 to go.
I would binge on working out and then I would purge myself. And that was not good because I would notice a yo-yo effect would start to happen.
And again, I've talked about this consistency a lot, so I want to do the old switcheroo. Please, can you let me know how you stay consistent within your training?
Nothing like the feeling of going to the gym for the first time and kind of seeing the sights. You hear the noises, the smells, the sounds.
The smells being protein powder excretion, the sights being a glorious facility, the sounds being that guy, how many sets you got left, bro? When you've just started your first set.
And I figured the more the better. The more I work out, the more results I'll get. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that you're not getting results from actually lifting the weights themselves. You're actually getting the results after you lift the weights. So the rest, the recuperation.
And so some of the mistakes they talk about here overlap with other issues they talk about later in relation to planning. But making sure you work in rest or recovery or active recovery days, for example, is of course important. But also here we can mix in the issue of having a life balance. Of course, having training as an important part of what you do, but also enjoying other things out there. But there are physiological issues to consider here. For example, junk volume. For example, doing too much work. Now, there is research into this that I've talked about on this channel before, where the idea of doing too much volume, for example, can be a point of diminishing returns, where there is a ceiling to the effectiveness of doing more and more repetitions. However, the problem we have, thank you evidence-based, is that we do not accurately know what that specific ceiling is.
Emulating someone too extensively and then getting depressed when you don't see those exact results.
And so this one is brilliant communication. This is the last specific point I'm going to go over, but they do have more gym mistakes they talk about later in relation to reaching their potential and their planning. But you know what? Go watch their video because it's better than mine.
I think now more than ever, that's really the case for a lot of people. It was for me back in the day. I would look at people such as Steve Reeves maybe, and you would see their physiques and go, oh my God, those guys look amazing. I want to look like them. And you just have to realize that sometimes your genetics are different from their genetics, but you just have to get comfortable in your own skin.
The comparison issue or the peer pressure or the tribal nature of the fitness industry in many cases. I bang on all the time about how you must train to your unique characteristics and needs.
You can be inspired by them, but you're never going to be a carbon copy of them. And that's very important to realize very early on.
But this is the variability of health and fitness.
Those are the mistakes that we made. We wish we would have avoided. We hope you were able to learn a thing or two from these things, avoid them yourselves, but also remember, mistakes are inevitable. failure is inevitable. The most important thing we can do is make those mistakes, learn from them, and become better versions of ourselves.